welcome back guys to my channel. My name is Tracy Mwago, and today I want to talk about something that has been so near and dear to my heart that I feel like I probably need to share with others who's probably struggling with their singleness. There was a point in my life where I felt that way, where I felt like nobody was approaching me and be like, hey, do you want to go on a date and things like that, right? And so it like put me down, and made me feel like I was not worth dating, and like nobody wanted to be with someone like me. And so, spoiler alert, I am married 2 years now. So I remember like in those moments, I'd still have crushes on, guys that I liked, and I would be like, totally normal, like, even if someone's not approaching you, you also kind of like somebody else, right? In those moments where I was feeling lonely and like not feeling worthy enough to be dated or like someone to want me as a wife, I'd still had crushes on other people. I'm still human as well, right? And so I had crushes on people. I remember something my mom used to tell me a lot is give God your all in every part you have, right? And so I thought it was weird to be like, hey God, I have a crush on someone, what do you think? Like that kind of felt weird in the moment, but it took up the courage to, sorry if you hear noise, that's my dog. But I took up the courage to like go in prayer and ask God about it. And so I remember before I got to my husband, I had two guys that I liked, and so the first one, I was like, I had a crush on them, and then I was like, okay, let me pray to God and ask God if I should pursue this, if it's him, like give me a sign, things like that, right? And so I prayed about it, and then I got like a vision of, I think it was a dream. I think it was a dream, not a vision. Either or. But I got this vivid image of him going, I always see him at church, by going to church, but instead he was not happy. He was not a true believer where he would fake it when he was going to church and serve, but then afterwards he'll go out and drink and live in this depression and like go after the bottle instead of going after Jesus. Like, you'd think if someone's going to church, praying and serving, that's what they were going to do, right? And so I had this Bible study in their house because the parents were hosting it for our group, and I literally saw the exact same bottle on the shelf, and I was like the exact same bottle that I saw in the image, and I was like, hold on, no way. And obviously I heard rumors about things, right? And so I was like, whoa, God, okay. And so I was like, pass on that one. It's okay. It's hard to let go, but you kind of have to do what's best for yourself, right? And so after that, I was like, not really looking anymore, until one day I saw this guy was literally staring at me. Like, I've never known he's gone to that church, but I found him staring at me, and that was when I recognized him and kind of like, okay, he's not bad. And then afterwards kind of built up a crush on him, and I was like, okay, part 2, I'm going to put it before God. And so I went up and put it before God and told God, I was like, hey God, like, it's me again, and I have a crush on this person. And then I saw another vivid image of like God was like, I cannot force him to date you, because right now his main priorities are his friends and his image of what people think about him as friends, right? And I was like, okay, what do you mean by that, right? And after that, when we were going out as young adults and like just having fun, go play, and I realized that like we were just talking, and he literally like, it was my story that I was telling, and literally shut me down so he could tell the story, and like wanted an image of himself being like, hey, look at me, kind of thing. And I was like, wow, You know what I mean? Like, wow. Like, God literally showed me that. And, every time I'd see him with the same friend group, just going out, like constantly. That was his main priorities, right? Like, if his friends were not there, I barely see him there either. And so it was interesting. I was like, okay, so cool, nice, okay. And so the next, now part 3 is where my husband comes in, right? I was just going online innocently. I was just scrolling through, I think it was Instagram and the reels, and I saw a woman at Steve Harvey's, ask questions kind of thing, and she was asking, what if you're a single woman who's trying to find a man, especially in the church, but the church you're going to is always the same kind of man, and you literally don't find variety, or haven't found someone interested in you, or you're not found someone interested in them, so like, how are you going to put yourself out there? And Steve Harvey was like, open a dating site. You don't have to initiate anything, just put your profile and just be there, right? You don't have to do anything. And so I was like, and I was a little skeptical, because it's like, should I really do this? Like, I've heard sketchy people, things like that. And I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. And it was really late at night. And so I opened the site, and then I was like, I literally prayed to God, and I was like, God, if I don't get anyone to text me the next day, I am taking this site off. Because I don't want something that will consume me, because I'll probably get addicted to it and like want constant attention from people on there. And literally, I think it was a couple hours later or an hour later, he texts me. He didn't even see my profile picture, because if you open a date site, they have to verify your picture first in order to make sure you're legit and not posting inappropriate pictures, because it was a Christian dating site. It was eHarmony, by the way. And he texted me. He was like, I saw your bio, and that's kind of what intrigued me. In my bio, some people said I was really weird for putting out there, but I was like, I'm looking for a Christian man, and like, I kind of, if you're white with the blue eyes and all this things. At the time, it was innocent, because I was like, that's kind of my type, that's kind of what I want. And so he was like, she's literally describing me right now, and that's why he texted me. And so as we kept dating, like talking before we actually dated, I was like praying to God, God, if this is from you, give me a sign. Like, if this is not, like, let him disappear out of my life. And he never disappeared. He kept going and going. And I remember one time I was like, okay, this might be too good to be true. And so I was like, God, I've actually wanted a pastor's kid, because I don't know why is it with pastor's kid, but like, I feel like somebody who's connected in a church more deeply like that would have a better connection. I don't know what I was thinking, but I said that. And literally the next day he goes, I'm a pastor's kid. And I was like, okay. I mean, obviously, that's not the only box he checked. He's a godly man. He follows after Christ. The Holy Spirit is his number one priority. And, like, God first. And, I asked him about his stance on marriage. Like, he literally checked all my boxes, and he never disappeared. So this is your reminder to, it might be, personally, I looked at it as God was protecting me from the hurt of having bad relationship and bad connections that would literally damage me if I was going to go into marriage. And so maybe people not approaching you is God is literally protecting you from people who are gonna come approach you and ruin your life, because he's my first boyfriend, and then obviously my first husband. He's literally my first. And so yeah, so I hope this encourages you that even if you're in your single season, give God your thoughts. Those crushes you have, God might surprise you. Might be one of them, might be the one. Oh, and another one. So, because we're dating long distance, right? And God was like, because at first the second crush that I had, because he used to come to a church nearby, I was fantasizing on how, if we started dating, we'll go to like this cute cafe shop and things like that. And God was like, no, I've actually prepared a date for you in that cafe with your man. And guess what? He came down. He never even asked me where to go and have a cafe, like where to go on a date for like breakfast, brunch kind of thing. He literally asked the person he was living with at the time to like, because he came down to like stay on Airbnb, and asked the person there like what's the best cute place to like take someone here in Vegas. And she literally said that place, and that place was like 15 minutes away from my home, and there's a lot more cafes in between that. But he literally picked that one that God told me he had prepared a day for me already. So I hope this encourages you, because I'm literally crying saying this. So anyway, yeah, so that's the end of this. If you have any questions in the chat, please ask them. I'm willing to answer any questions you have. Best way to support this channel, keep subscribing, liking, and sharing these videos, and let us grow as Christians together. Yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye.